Hey, looks like it's working. Yay. Okay. Um, it's like major Mercury retrograde over here. Okay, so we're going to start with a meditation. And I'm going to have you bring your hands to your heart space like this, or one hand on the belly, one hand on the heart, whatever feels more comfortable to you. Let the eyes close. I'm going to practice an affirmation. So the affirmation has the word goddess in it. If you don't resonate with that word or it doesn't connect to you or your gender, you can feel free to change it to a word that does help you connect to the idea of divine in form or divine within you. So ideas might be source or light or divine. But we'll just start here by feeling our breath in the hands and how those two things meet in the body. So as you inhale, you feel your hand lift, the body presses into the hands. And as you exhale, the hands press back into the body. And just noticing that relationship. Mm. Yeah. And then you're going to repeat inside your own mind this affirmation. I'll repeat it a few times out loud and then keep repeating it a few times until you kind of feel like it is soaked in. And what you're looking for as you repeat and listen is to notice sensations. Notice the sensation of acceptance, of receiving, of taking in the affirmation. And notice the sensations of resistance, both mental, emotional, and physical. And you don't need to have any judgment. There's no right or wrong way. Just taking notes, noticing where it comes from, and feeling into that. Inhaling and then exhaling. My body is its own goddess. 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 And a couple more breaths here. And letting go of the affirmation if you haven't already. Just noticing, listening, feeling. As you're ready, releasing the hands down to the lap, letting the eyes blink open and closed a few times. Look around the space. Yeah. So that affirmation was given to me from inside my own body's vortex. And what it means to me is that having reverence for the body, recognizing its divineness within, that it actually it is its own divine vehicle and vessel. It's its own temple, as the cliche goes. And that we are working to build a relationship to that divine aspect within ourselves. And that is particularly, it's a separate, it is its own unique vibration of the divine within our body that is physical and that is different than the divine that is outside of us. And it is also different than the channel that connects the divine outside of us to the divine within us. And what we're playing with and practicing in this work is building a bridge and a relationship to ourselves, to the divine within ourselves, this inner knowing, this intuition, this space within us that has this vastness. And how we connect to that space is through sensation. And we're working with sensation using a broader definition. So not just experiencing it as physical sensation, although that is a large part of it, but experiencing it through all the senses. So we explore the body using the tools of our senses. There's sight, there's audio, there's taste, there's smell, there's touch. And we're using all of those senses to ultimately touch into a deeper, sixth sense that is this inner knowing, this intuition, this vastness within us that has, is this precious resource for ourselves within our body, creating this sanctuary within our body. It's a resource for being in alignment with relationships, how we move in the world, and it builds safety and trust and love and reverence for oneself, right? And not the self of like, hi, I'm Jessica, I'm here teaching a video self. It's the self that lives within us, that is bigger and broader, that connects all of us to each other. And so in today's class, we're going to play with sensation. And particularly, we're going to be exploring the landscapes of your sensations in the physical body, looking for places of origin, looking to trace the lines of sensation to where it leads to. So I feel it start, the sensation, I feel it start in my hip, it leads and it goes all the way into my ear. So playing with that, being able to find origin and then where it goes. And then also to sometimes stay with sensation and start to call in these other tools. What do I see here? What do I hear when I pay attention, when I listen to this place? What insights are gained? What do I taste anything? Do I smell anything? What are the feelings? What are the sensations, the physical touch sensations that I feel here? So using that, and we're going to practice for the most part in a chair, and you can use a dining room table chair. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. Better to use a dining room table chair than a padded like a sofa or like a sofa chair. Using the dining room table chair gives you access to being able to feel your seat. So, and then if you want music, anything relaxing, my favorite is The Cosmic Hum by Jonathan Goldman. And it's just one track and it's an hour long. And so we're going to come to I have my little notebook so I can kind of remember. We'll see how it goes, if I need it or not. When I come to our chair, let's see, back this up a little bit. Yeah. And I have some blankets on mine, so it's a little bit more comfortable, but I can still feel my sitting bones on here. And this is a very quick nervous system de-escalation technique, and a way that you can, anytime that you feel that you're out of your body, you can draw yourself back in, and it only takes a few minutes, but it starts to kind of bring our awareness into that realm of sensation. So we'll start by turning the head, and you can turn the head to the right. And you'll pause for just a moment. Notice the right side of your neck. What do you feel? Notice the left side. Start to release that and turn the gaze to the left. Notice the difference between the two sides. They're pretty different on my body. Notice the sensations on the left. Notice the sensations on the right. And so just go back and forth a few times, your own pace, slowly just feeling into the sensations here. You might even be able to start to notice kind of origin. Oh, this kind of comes in from my shoulder over here on the left, or I can actually feel it down into my elbow. Oh, it rides up through the back of the skull. What about that right side? Okay, if you're not there yet, it's okay to just sort of notice what you do feel. Maybe one more time back and forth. You might notice which side feels easier to turn to. Which side has more resistance? Yeah. And then you're going to tap your feet. So we're going to bring our awareness to our feet. So we will start by just tapping the balls of the feet onto the earth, and then tapping the heels, tapping the balls of the feet, and tapping the heels, balls of the feet. Can you feel the earth underneath the toes and then the heels? Can you feel your big toe, your pinky toe, inner heel, outer heel? Yeah, back and forth. Stay with the sensation in your feet. And then see where else you can feel it, right? When I feel my feet, feel it in my ankles, my calves. It's much harder for me to tap my toes than it is for me to hit my heels. Pick up the both feet at the same time. Right, like you're walking. Heel toe, heel toe. That's not how I walk. Okay. Just notice then the sensation come up the legs. And then sitting bones. Here it's nice why we have kind of a harder chair if you need to scoot forward to kind of feel your sitting bones. So there's the bony parts of the bottom of the pelvis. Lean to the one side, you can feel one and the other. Bring your awareness to both. Notice them and meeting the chair. You feel them in your body. You feel the sensation of the chair against the seat. Do you have any other senses here that come in? Do you see anything as you pay attention to see anything in your mind's eye? Do you hear anything? Do you notice sensation other than just at the pelvis? Do you notice it connected to anything? Which sitting bone is farther forward? Which one's farther back? Is one more up into the body and one more dropped low? Are they turned or rotated in any direction? Again, without judgment, just noting. Another breath here. And then we go back to the neck, turning. Notice the sensation. Is it different? It often will feel less constricted. It's pretty crazy how different it is. But it usually feels pretty different, right? It might not be perfectly like open, but very different. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is a very slow movement into cat-cow from the chair. And so what I want you to do is imagine that you could you have sensation access to every single vertebrae, right? So I'm really arching through, feeling in through each vertebrae as it moves. Lastly is my head. And then I start to pull back. I draw my belly button in. Feel in through the sitting bones, rocking forward, the low back. And just really moving through each vertebrae. And particularly what I'm looking for is to notice any places that feel stuck, that have resistance. I'm starting to move through. And this can be very organic in its pacing. So for you, it doesn't need to be, super quick or exactly the pace that I'm moving. What I'm looking for more from you is to see if you can remain present within the aspects of the spine and notice where your presence drops out. Or notice where there is a place that feels difficult to access as you move through the crown of the head, neck, upper back, mid back, low back, through the pelvis. Can you feel the front side of the body, pelvis, belly, belly button, upper belly, chest, throat center, third eye? And then here's some continuing level skills. As you move through this, can you notice sensations outside of the spine or the torso? What happens to your hands as you arch? What feelings do you have in your inner elbows? What about your outer shins? Your big toe? Does it shift as you move? Here, this starts to change into kind of like a rolling cat-cow. And so you're just allowed to kind of move in like these circles here. Sort of moving from left to right. Sort of noticing here within the spinal movements, what happens. Side bend a little bit and get the head in there. So you're exploring all the ways in which the spine moves. And you're noticing here where there's restriction, where there is fluidity. Notice where there is presence, where you're able to feel, and where your presence starts to fade out. So your rolling around and exploring might not look exactly like how mine looks, but it might look similar. And you are also allowed to kind of explore your own sensations here. So this is one of those practices that you can do repeatedly, you can do over and over again, and each day it will feel slightly different as you have this invitation to explore sensation with what's showing up for you right now. Where do you feel these sensations move from? You move over to the side. Where is the origin? So going slow enough to be like, oh, I feel that deep within my hip. Or you know what, on this side I feel it deep within my hip, but when I move to the other side and do that same motion, I can't access my hip. What's there? What is blocking my connection to that place? I'm not necessarily needing to know the answer or having all the answers, right? And eventually this kind of adds in with the pelvis. So we allow the pelvis to start to kind of roll, and we make these circles here, pelvis sort of hip circles, and we go from one side to the other. And I get some side bends in. And I get some other side bends in. So again, this is just making this same kind of exploration movement. Can I get into all the different parts of my body here through the torso and feel into that through the pelvis. Just waking the whole thing up. The head. And then I start to do some draping over. So letting yourself come all the way up, almost like sun salutes, and then folding over, feeling into the spine as it rolls up, reaching up, and then feeling into that spine. Let it release down. Here, feel into the hip creases, widen the back side of the seat. Shake the head. Round and roll on up. We'll do one more like that. Belly touches the thighs or moves between the thighs. Release. Shake the head out. roll, round it up. Okay, and last little check-in, just did I get all the spots here? And then notice sitting bones. Can you connect to that line underneath your pelvis? Can you feel up to mid-belly? So around the belly button, draw up through the pelvis to the belly button. Can you go from belly button to upper belly? Can you go to heart center? Can you go to throat center? Can you go to the third eye, center of the cranium, travel up through the soft palate of the mouth? Here you go, and out through the crown of the head. Beautiful. Okay, we're going to do a few twists here. So starting facing forward, sitting in your chair, just a very gentle twist. Take a hold of the back side of the chair, right? We're twisting towards the right. Left hand comes onto the side of the knee. And I want you to go deep within the pelvis here. Feel right sitting bone, left sitting bone. Imagine that center channel that you just traveled up, right? The center light being within you. Where is the resistance? Just as when we turned our head to the side, do you notice what's up and down on that left side of the body, through the ribs, through the sitting bone? What about your inner thighs, your outer hips? Ooh, yeah. We release those. Where is it being held? Where is it being restricted? Chest, shoulders, navel center. And then release and come to the other side. Left hand comes behind, right hand's on the knee, right? And right away, I just noticed like, oh, my hips brace. And so they like, can I go into my pelvis and soften and melt? And what happens here as I do? Where's the resistance here? Is it on the outer right side or is it on the inner left side? Is that different or the same? Is there resistance there at all? Maybe yours is somewhere else. Inner thigh, outer thighs, hand, chest, neck, navel. Release. And then we're going to turn to the side and we're going to sit on the side of our chair like this. Right? And I'm going to rotate the chair so you can see. So you're sitting on the side of your chair and you're turning towards, and this just gives you a little bit deeper of a twist. And you might be able to even reach back and hold the chair seat, right? Some of you might even be holding farther across the back. Some just might be holding the sides. I think that feels about good to me, right? And so again, I'm noticing here in my pelvis, inner and outer pelvis, right? And so this is like, to me, is like the origin of the sensation of resistance. So if I grip through my pelvis, that resistance, I can feel that resistance start in the pelvis and travel all the way up my center channel, all the way into my cranium. And then when I relax my pelvis, I can notice how that releases all the way up the line of sensation. Okay, and then we're doing other side. So turning yourself back towards the front and then walking your legs over to the other side, and I will turn my chair around. Again, so I'm facing forward. You can just flip your feet around to the other side of the chair. Again, some of you might be grabbing the back or have your arm a little bit farther across. This isn't about how far you can twist, it's about how much you can feel within your body. So, you know, my resistance starts in my own pelvis, but that might not be true for you. So is it your pelvis? Is it your navel center? Is it your inner knee? Is it the chest, the hands? And it changes, right? As one releases, something else might create resistance, right? And there's nothing wrong with resistance. Like, right, we need resistance to stand upright. But And that resistance creates stagnation, right? There's a difference there. And then releasing here. And then, so next thing is ankle to knee and coming in through the hips a little bit. So you're going to take your ankle on top of your knee. If your knee is pretty high up, lifted high up, you might want to sit up on a few things. And it's nice too to sit a little bit farther forward on your chair seat so that you have access to the sitting bones, right? Sometimes if you're too far back, it feels harder to do that. We're going to start with a twist towards the foot here. And here we're going into the sensation of where we feel the stretch. For each of us, it might be slightly different. I don't want you to feel it in your knee. And this is where we're drawing in the other senses. Right? We'll do this, come back through center to explore that. Some of you might be feeling a lot of stretch sensation just being here. So then you're going into that stretch sensation. What do you feel? What do you see? What do you hear? Do you taste anything? Do you smell anything? Some of you might need to lean forward to get into stretch sensation, right? But you're not trying to go into your end range. If you're flooded with a really high stretch sensation, it's very hard to feel those subtleties. So you're going to stay in a place where you can stay present. Go into that space of stretch sensation. Notice where the origin place, where is the tension origin? Where does it radiate out to? So it's noticing the sensation. Do you see anything as you spend time looking in quotation marks into this area? What do you see in this pelvis? What do you notice here? Do you hear anything? Can we listen? Because the hips we won't stay for too long. It's going to be pretty intense. And come on out. Put both feet down onto the floor. Notice the difference between the two sides. Full breath in, full breath out. One more. So twisting. Feel the foot press into the hand press into the foot. Soften wide and through the seat. Notice your stretch sensation here. And then again, we might have some stretch sensation just being upright, depending on where your hips are today. Some of us need to fold a little bit forward. I don't need to go very far on this side before I'm pretty in it. You want to feel this in your hips and not in your knee. And if your knee is much higher than your hip points, kind of up this way, you're going to want to sit up higher. So you might put a couple pillows on your seat, underneath your seat on your chair. So here we're going into the sensation of the hip. And I notice, right, notice the origin, notice where it refers to, how it radiates out, what happens. I can feel its radiation into the other hip, it going up my back, down my leg. Can I get a visual of this area? Can you see into this area? See through the sensations. So it's like the sensations gift you with a vision of this area. Is there anything here? And you listen. What do you smell? What do you taste? What do you hear? Come on up. Put the feet down. Inhale, exhale. Okay. And then we're going to come on down onto the floor. I'm going to move my chair off towards the end of the mat. And I like to have a blanket down underneath my body for comfort. So you might do that. And I'm going to have a strap off to the side or a scarf. Okay, actually, I'm going to leave this back for a moment. Okay, so first I'm going to open up through the front of my hip joint through infinity pose. Right heel to left sitting bone. Bring the knee down. And we're just resting that right arm up. So this is, again, staying with sensation. Going in there. So this might be through the quad, inner hip, the hip crease. It might be inner thigh. It might be low belly. Notice where you feel sensation. Notice where it radiates. Is there any vision here? When you move in towards the sensation, what do you notice? And if you're like, I have no idea, lady, that's okay. Just remembering that this is a practice to learn to see. To learn to listen. It's a building of relationship. And stay with it. And we release. We'll do the other side. Left heel to right sitting bone. Grab a hold of the foot. Knee opens out. Feel into the sensation here. So as pathway, that left arm can come overhead. Right arm can rest on the belly. And sometimes too, like noticing what you don't feel, what you don't see. I can't get in there. It feels fuzzy or dark or clouded to me. Those aren't wrong answers. Those aren't bad answers. Those are wonderful pieces of information, right, to explore. Why can't I get in there? What happens when I stay and I listen a little longer? What texture is there? Is there movement there? Does the cloud fogginess move? Is it weighted into the back body, the front body? Is the origin of the cloud somewhere? Where is the border of it? Can I find that? And we release. Take Baddha Konasana, bottoms of the feet together, open up through the inner hips. If this is high sensation for you with your bottoms of your feet together like this, you can place blocks or something underneath the knees. We're not here for very long. Releasing sensation here. Your thighs, just noticing the difference between the two sides. Can you feel into the very center of your pelvis? The pelvic floor. Feel the wideness of the hips here as the legs open. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you taste? What do you smell? What do you feel? Last couple moves here. I'm going to bring my chair a little bit closer to me. Get my strap. Feet come up onto the chair seat. This is a quick move through of these places. Normally we stay here a lot longer, but today is just to kind of release the legs out. To get ready to rest in shavasana. Widen through the back side of the pelvis, feel up the legs. Take the leg out to the side. Open through inner thighs, reach out through the toes. Take it up, cross the line, switch hands. Oh God, it's always still so intense. Outer hip releases, inner thigh rolls away from face. Yeah. Okay, release that, put the foot down, notice the two sides. And the other side. Widen through back side of the pelvis. Melt the glutes, melt the glutes, melt the glutes. Release up through the leg. Back side of the leg, up from the pelvis goes up to the foot. Front side of the legs goes down into the hip crease. And take the foot out to the side. Reach out. I like having the wall here, it makes it easier. Yep. And then crossing, switching hands. Soften through that inner hip crease here. You're holding the strap with your right hand, crossing the line. You're not going so far over, that doesn't quite do anything, more towards the face and then just over the midline. Inner thigh rolls away, outer hip releases. Ooh, high sensation here. Okay, release that leg. Put the legs down onto the chair. Here, we're resting. Your hands come onto the belly or anywhere that's comfortable. Here. And I want us to just spend these few moments here and practice saturation of awareness. So you are going to choose a location where you will saturate that location with your awareness, and then see if you can, what do you feel? What senses do you notice here? It is easiest to choose a place that you can put your hands. So you might have a place that's calling on your foot or somewhere, but you might go inward and see if you can choose a place that you're able to put your hands. And so just taking a moment and giving a scan kind of the torso, feel into the hip creases, the pelvis, the low belly, upper belly ribs, chest, mid-sternum, upper shoulders, upper chest, maybe even the neck. What of those places called out like a little alarm bell or like a magnet for your attention? There might have been multiple ones, and then just choose. Maybe there was one that was the loudest. If you're not sure, just choosing one. And then placing a hand there. And all you need is one hand in that space. The other one can rest wherever is comfortable, or it can be off to the side. Feel the hand pressing into. You don't have to push, just feel the weight, the physical weight of your hand against that place of your body. Feel the clothing or your skin meet the hand. And then travel beneath that sensation and start to go into the magnet that pulled you there in the first place. What's there? What textures do you notice? Is there a color, a shape? Is there movement? Keep staying with the sensation. Can you listen in? If you see something like an object, a shape, a texture, a color, can you Keep your awareness on that object, on that space, and just listen. What do you hear? Don't third eye it, don't tractor beam it, don't laser beam it. Let your awareness sit back as if you're watching a sunset. But you're paying attention. Your awareness doesn't go away. Another couple breaths. Maybe there's a taste. Maybe you notice a smell. Maybe you feel a sensation. And release. After the next exhale, let the hands rest anywhere that's comfortable, along the sides, around the body. Allow the mind to soften back. Let go of any efforting. Resting here for a few moments, and you can always pause the video here if you know that you need a longer shavasana. We're just going to hang out for a few moments together. Notice any resistance to resting here, and just allowing your body to let go of that resistance and fully be supported by the ground underneath you, or the chair with your legs. Soften the jaw, the eyes, the forehead. Start to notice your breath here, inhales, and your exhale. On your next inhale, just imagine drawing in iridescent divine light. Just feel it filling in first through the lungs. Exhale, it starts to radiate from the lungs, filling the whole torso. Inhale, you draw in even more. It draws down even into the belly. Exhale, it radiates through the pelvis and the hips, through the upper body, shoulders. Inhale, draws in, fills the shoulders, the belly, the pelvis. Exhale, iridescent, divine light down the legs, out the arms, up the head. Inhale, the whole body draws in this light. Exhale, it radiates out in all directions, everywhere. Two more like that. Every cell saturated, every cell contacted with this iridescent, radiant light. Inhale, saturating. Exhale, expanding. After that next exhale, letting go of any efforting here. Let any movement come into the body that feels intuitive and nourishing to you. Big stretch. Wiggling the fingers, the toes, drawing the knees in towards the chest, whatever feels good. And then as you're ready, slowly coming over to your side body, pause there for a few moments. And then you'll gently press yourself on up to a seat. And bring your hands to the heart. Got the vortex hair going on. Bow the head on in. Notice your seat, your center channel rise up from the pelvis, meeting the hands at the heart. Feel that vastness within you. My body is its own goddess. May you be receptive to grace. Blessings and namaste. Thank you, dear loves. Thank you so much. Let me know if you have any questions, need anything. And I look forward to our next adventure together.